Me hice unos de esos, o sea, de lentes con personas. A mí me da rabia que los oculistas no te dicen que, o sea, los lentes de cerca son diferentes de leer, bueno, o yo no sé, o el mío no me decía, yo no sabía, me enteré, que es diferente los lentes de leer que los lentes de leer la computadora. Tienen dos, claro.
Bueno,
Por ahí nunca me daban la opción.
¿Cómo así? Voy a ir, nunca he ido en la vida.
Sí, para que se funcione.
Llegué el momento.
¿Qué pasó? ¿No?
Necesita otro
Pero
médico.
por presbicia, dices tú. Entonces, creo que hasta mis migrañas pueden ser claro.
Que los previsos son para abajo.
Pero es una solución buena, ¿eh?
Los lentes de leer de cerca, sí, no, para
que
abajo,
llegan
normal. Son diferentes de leer la computadora.
Okay, we're ready? Let's go. I'm sorry it's late. I'm sorry, whatever, but it is what it is. Let's move on. Okay, on the Pesach Seder, what does the word Seder mean?
Order
Order of
things.
what things?
So, like events.
Good guess. It's order of mitzvot. There's 5 mitzvot that we do at the Pesach Seder. It's really 4, which is really 2, as because everything's Jewish is complicated.
Pesach matzah maror.
Okay, she's right. Look at you. Okay, so if you look, you have a title on the top right corner of the paper. It says the 5 mitzvot of the Seder, because this is the order of the 5 mitzvot. The first mitzvah is telling the story. The pasuk tells us. We saw last week. V'higadat alavincha. That's where the word Haggadah comes from. V'higadat alavincha means to tell your children on that day. And not only that, it says v'higadat alavincha. That's what we did last week. Bavor zeh, because of this. What is the this? It is the Pesach matzah and maror that you're talking about. So that's actually the next mitzvot. The next mitzvot.
But it's telling the story to the children or just telling the story?
Telling the story. The pasuk tells us, and you're going to come to that in a second. It's a good point, that it must be in a question-answer format to your children, which we're going to come to soon. That's going to be in this area. Then you do it by yourself, and you could be your own child for this. Okay, your inner child. There you go. There you go. So the next mitzvah is, as you correctly suggested, Pesach, the Korban Pesach. The Korban Pesach is the Pesach sacrifice. It used to be a lamb. Every family, that goes right underneath, right underneath there, exactly. It used to be a lamb. Everybody would have a lamb. They would bring the families together. Korban Pesach, Pesach sacrifice. This is why, by the way, since time forever, we had large family gatherings for Pesach. This is all the way since forever, because you needed to have that the entire family would eat this lamb together, and there couldn't be any leftovers. So you'd have 3 or 4 extended families coming together, or groups of friends could come together in order to make a group for the Korban Pesach. So this was the way it had to be. And since then, we have the same thing. It never changed. This is old history, 3,000 years. So you have the telling the story, the Korban Pesach, matzah is the next, which is eat matzah. The mitzvah is to eat matzah. We're going to speak about that soon. Also, last week we mentioned that was one of the 2 mitzvot of the Seder night. We have 8 mitzvot. Last week we spoke about that. There's 8 mitzvot for Pesach. 6 of them have to do with chametz, and 2 of them, not including the Korban Pesach, have to do with the Seder night. They are to eat matzah, and the other one was to tell the story. The Torah tells us that when you eat the Korban Pesach, you have to eat the Pesach al matzot umorerim yochluhu. You must eat it together with maror. So maror is the next mitzvah. Eat maror.
Eat maror.
Yes. So we have the mitzvah of telling the story, the mitzvah of the Korban Pesach, the mitzvah of eating matzah, the mitzvah of eating maror. That's all from the Torah. Okay. However, the rabbis, as always, like to add something, but we like this addition, and that is to drink 4 cups of wine. Drink 4 cups of wine. I'm sorry? No. 4 cups of wine was added by the rabbis, and soon we're going to see where they come in, how they come in, why they come in. So basically, what is the Seder? The Seder is the order of these mitzvot. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay. The order.
But when you read the Haggadah, that it says, they say that if the person who didn't say these words didn't do Pesach, and you have to say Pesach Matzah Umaror. I thought the mitzvah was to say it.
Yeah, it is.
So you can say it and not eat matzah. And
No.
No.
The mitzvah is the telling of this story. We're going to get there in a second, but the telling of the story requires an explanation of the thing sitting in front of us. That's what it means when we say whoever did not say it didn't fulfill his obligation, means he didn't feel the obligation of telling the story. You got it?
No,
Okay. I'm sorry? No, for sure. So we're gonna get there in a second. So basically, what is a Seder? A Seder is very simple. A Seder is a meal. Hashem tells us what to eat. The rabbis tell us what to drink. And Hashem tells us what to speak about. That's what the Seder is. It's not more complicated than that.
Who wrote the Haggadah?
Haggadah we're gonna have to get to in our next class. I asked, do we want to do a Haggadah class or a Seder class? Although, a little bit about the Haggadah I have to tell you. The Haggadah, primarily, just to answer your question quickly, is a Talmudic writing, meaning it's from the same time as the Gemara. We don't know the exact author, but the style is very similar to another kind of book that was written at the same time as the Talmud, which is called the Midrash. It's the same style exactly. It's literally a Midrash. And that's what we're going to do next week. I'm going to show you what this Midrash is. The Haggadah is just a Midrash. That's all it is. You got it?
The books.
I'm sorry?
I bought the books.
Of the Midrash. Okay, so it's the same, but you're probably getting a worked over version of the Midrash. It's probably not the literal.
Yeah, it's in Spanish.
Right. Yeah, but it's the same time period, let's say. Good. Now we're going to examine the first mitzvah very briefly, and then we're going to get into the Seder itself. The first mitzvah is to tell this story. If you look at the next set of lines that I have in front of you, it says 3 requirements to tell the story. These requirements come straight from the Torah. The Torah tells us actually 4 different times to tell the story, which is where the 4 sons come from. I'll show you that next week. But 4 different times in the Torah, it says you have to teach your children this story. And in 3 of those times, it begins with a question. When your child will ask you, what is this? You will answer, ba, 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 ba.
I think you should do this class to the men.
For sure, but you need to know it too.
Because they are going to be the Abbas and they need to...
I agree with you. If the men if you want to get the men together, I'm happy to give a class to them. But I think you should see it anyhow. It's important. So you understand what it is. You're preparing it and you'll see what everything is going on. Okay. So how is the mitzvah required to be done? So because of this, because of what I just told you, in the Torah, whenever we see the conversation, it's always a question and answer. So the first requirement to fulfill the mitzvah is it must be question and answer, Q&A. It must be question and answer. You cannot tell the story if it doesn't begin with a question. You're not following the mitzvah. The next point we're not going to discuss today. That's really for when we speak about the Haggadah. But the next point is you must begin the answer with negative and conclude with positive. That's the second requirement for telling the story of for fulfilling the mitzvah of telling the story of Pesach.
What was it? Begin the answer in negative?
Negative and conclude with positive. So it must go from negative to positive, meaning you have to describe what the problem was, and then you have to describe how Hashem fixed us up. You'll see next week, we're actually giving 2 answers to our children. One of them begins with, we were slaves to Egypt, and now God made us free. And one of them begins with, we were idol worshippers, and now God brought us close to his service. So the negative to the positive. Okay? There's a lot of lessons in all this, by the way, especially I see a psychologist's eyes are opening up here a little bit. But for real, to ignore the negative means that you're missing the conversation. You know what I'm saying? You have to, in this conversation, you have to express the problem with the solution and the solution with the problem. Just the solution is not sufficient. Anyhow, a lot to be discussed. The third, and this is very, very important, is you must have, as we said earlier, the pasuk says, Ba'avor zeh, because of this. What is the this? you must have the three props. ¿Sabe qué es props?
Mhm.
En español, ¿qué hay una palabra así?
Como, no sé.
Muestras, algo así, no sé. Anyhow, you have to have three props on the, en un play, que en un play, cuando tienes un set y tiene los objects that draw your attention to the important parts of the story because of the items that you have standing there. What are the three props? ¿Hay una palabra así? Okay. What are the three props? It's Pesach, Matzah, Maror. You have to have sitting in front of you, in order to tell the story, the Korban Pesach, which today we don't have yet. This year, with Hashem's help, we will. Okay, you have to have the Korban Pesach. Ma, if I print something up
But,
for you
but
guys,
there's
because
a lot of
they're
people
both
that
missing
include
pages.
lamb in
Huh?
the menu, right?
I'm sorry?
There's a lot of people that include lamb in the menu.
It's a little problematic if yes, but I'll tell you, I'll be with you in a second. I just want to print this so that you all have one here.
Eso no lo he hecho.
Today we don't have the actual Korban Pesach. Instead, we have, because we don't have the Korban Pesach this year. Yet. Yes, this year we're going to have. Inshallah. Pues,
Sí, exacto.
Objetos usados en escena.
¿Cuál es el salón de utilería?
Ajá.
Sí, son películas.
Mira, ya está.
No, utilería, donde guardaban.
Ah, sí. Los props.
Donde estaban analizados.
Esteban, estaba Esteban atrás. En el salón de utilería.
okay, I'm printing it, okay? Okay, so you need to have the three props in front of you. What are the three props? One is the Korban Pesach. Okay, today we don't have a Korban Pesach. So what do we do yet? But this year we will. But last year, what did we have to use? We used a bone on the Seder plate. The props is the Seder plate.
Okay.
The Seder plate. The Korban Pesach, you have the Maror, which is the two, you have two of them. You have one in the middle and one on the bottom, right? And then you have the matzah. Right. The Shabbat is in the middle. Some people have it around in the circle. Right. That's right. Chabad lo tiene, again, you want to know some Kabbalah? You want Kabbalah in here? We have it based on Kabbalah. The Kabbalah in Chabad is you have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Just like in the system of Kabbalah. If you remember in Kabbalah, we said that there's the 7 midot. Right? So the 7 midot are all there because the final midah is Malchut. And Malchut is the matzah, which is underneath the 6 things. So you have this 6, that's exactly right. Exactly right. And then the right is Chesed, the left is Gevura, the middle is Tiferet. And then again, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, and underneath you have Malchut. So you have a little Kabbalah there. Okay? Bueno.
Ah, no. Claro.
Okay, now to make this easy, and ask you guys, I feel like I'm in class again, but it's good.
But why did you say it's a problem to include lamb in the menu?
Okay, so it's not a problem. You have to speak to your local rabbi and whoever your rabbi is, because there's different opinions, different ways. But you need to be very careful. This year we're going to have it as part of the menu, but last year you had to be very careful. Why not? There's plenty of time. Last year you had to be very, very careful to ensure that you don't do anything that looks like you're actually eating the Korban Pesach. So that's one of the reasons that the bone that some people, there's different opinions, there's different customs, there's a lot of customs. But the reason that some people have the opinion to use a chicken bone instead of a other kind of bone is specifically because chicken cannot be brought on the Mizbeach. You never bring chicken onto the Mizbeach, so therefore, onto the altar. So therefore, we use a bone that's clearly not lamb. Okay. On the other hand, everybody agrees that you should not use roasted meat. So that means that if you're going to cook meat for the Seder, which you're certainly allowed to, if you're going to cook meat for the Seder, then you should use meat that has at least some liquid in it. I only printed one. I thought I printed 5. Okay.
Después que le pinte.
So no, so dale al. Sí. I thought I printed 5 of it. No, I guess I printed 1. I'm sorry.
Buenísimo.
No, it's not bien. You don't have to go upstairs. It's fine. Okay, so people are careful not to serve roasted meat, and certainly not roasted lamb. But is that like absolute requirement? Definitely not. Like the type of cooking, because it shouldn't look like the carbon pesach. But you can, if you serve it roasted, but with a certain amount of liquid on the bottom of the roast, it's fine. You see what I'm saying? It just shouldn't be. The carbon pesach was literally a barbecue. It shouldn't look like barbecue. Yo no digo nada. No dije nada.
Was supposed to eat the sacrifice.
The first night, digo, es con salsa. Exacto. ¿Cómo?
You cannot eat the sacrifice.
Exacto. Hasta que viene. No. El carbon pesach todos lo comieron. Pero ya que no tenemos, que no tuvimos el carbon pesach, hay que cuidar que no se ve como estás comiendo el carbon pesach, porque no es carbon pesach.
Pero what's wrong with it?
Evitar pretend.
Pretend that the temple is
That's right.
there.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Because we cannot pretend.
That's right. Cannot. Okay. Anyhow, let's move forward because there's not I try and get you out of here on time, and there's a lot to cover. Do me a favor, very quickly. Mark from 1 to 15. These are 15 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Each one of them is one number. We're going in English order, so you follow the English order, not like we're in Hebrew. Perfect. Okay. You'll notice that there's 3 different kinds of boxes here. There's a speech bubble. Whenever there's a speech bubble, it's something we need to say. There's a box. Whenever there's a box, it's something we need to eat.
Okay.
And then there's an arrow. Wherever there's an arrow, it's a preparation step. ¿Entiendes?
Yeah.
Awesome. The first thing we're going to say is, do you guys know the 15 steps like in a song that you learn in school or something? Kadesh, Shorchatz, Karpas, Yachatz, Magid, Racht, or that verse. Yachatz. There you go. So you don't have to sing it. You can write it. Put it into the boxes. I'm just going to help you out. Number 1, Kadesh. Number 2, Orchatz. We're going to explain each one in a second. Number 3, Karpas, however you want. No importa. Como sea. O con J, como sea. Karpas es 3, 4 es Yachatz. Magid es 5. Rachza. Okay, this one's a little tricky. There's different opinions of how many steps there are. For Kabbalistic reasons, we split motzi and matzah into 2 steps. Motzi and then matzah. Okay, so even though really they're the same step, and in some people they put it into one, they call it motzi matzah.
Which
For
one is number 7?
motzi,
Magid, Rachza.
8 is matzah,
Pues, motzi.
7 motzi, rachza, 7 motzi, 8 matzah, 9 maror, 10 korech, 11 shulchan orech. No, es dos juntos, 2 palabras juntas. Shulchan orech.
Yo en español.
No hay,
Como suena.
no hay, ¿cómo se llama? Ortografía.
No, claro que no. Ok, después de Shulchan Aruch es 12, ya estamos en el último fila. 12 es Safun, TZ probably. Barech or Beirach, there's 2 ways to write it. Either one's are correct. 14, Hallel.
Alegre.
Eso, mira eso. Nirza.
En verdad, sí teníamos que hacer esta clase.
See. Okay. Ready? Now we're going to go in hyperdrive. I'm sorry for this speed because I know that some of you have to leave. But let's go as fast as we can. Again, every speech bubble is going to be something we need to say. Let's start with number one. What's the first thing we start with? Kiddush. So the right in there, make kiddush. This is very important. As we go through each mitzvah, I'm going to tell you how to do the mitzvah properly. That's the really important reason we're having this conversation. When you drink a cup of wine for the Seder, it's not taking a sip.
The whole thing.
Let me tell you what the mitzvah is and then what you can do. The mitzvah is to drink half of the cup plus a drop. So a little bit more than half of the cup. The minimum requirement for the amount of the cup is 3 ounces. So if you're scared of getting drunk, I just bought them on Amazon. You could buy on Amazon these nice little silver plastic cups that are 4 or 5 ounces. And like this, you can do the mitzvah properly and not worry about being drunk. Now, if you want to get drunk, that's what I do. I have a 20-ounce cup. Okay?
So you have to drink 4 cups.
You have to drink all the 4 cups, at least half of the cup. So it would be 1.5 ounces, but it's not the amount that matters. It's half of the cup that matters. So use a smaller cup.
Ya va, wait.
I thought it was minimum.
Then half of the cup could be half of a 4-ounce cup.
Yes.
I thought the minimum amount was 3 ounces.
The minimum amount of the cup is 3 ounces. It's really 3.2 ounces. So better buy a 4-ounce cup. A 4-ounce cup. And drink half of the cup. Now, really, it's better to drink the whole cup.
But you okay.
But you need, the requirement is at least half of the cup. Yes. So buy small cups. That's again special for the ladies. You're the ones who are going to take care of this. Okay. Orchatz, karpas, yachatz. We're going to skip to number 5 for a minute. We're going to come back to number 2, 3, and 4. We're going to skip to number 5. That's why I asked you to put the numbers in so it's easy to find. Magid, tell the story. You can write that down. Tell the story. Number 5. Read the Haggadah. Tell the story. Number 5. Tell the story. Read the Haggadah. Now, I told you there's 3 requirements to tell the story. What's the first requirement? So how do we make a question?
Sorry, why did we skip the other?
I'm telling you. You'll see.
No,
¿Cómo?
Ah.
Yes, that's true. One way is that you have it written in the Haggadah. Another way is you teach the children in school. The kids who goes to Jewish schools learn the Manishtana. The Manishtana are the questions. But how do we get them to ask questions? Is we do something unusual.
Right.
Normally, what do? You make your kiddush, you wash your hands, and what do you do next? You have your bread. Here, instead of having bread, we eat a vegetable dipped in salt water. That's number 3. Number 3 is eat a vegetable dipped in salt water. The reason we eat the vegetable dipped in salt water has nothing to do with spring. Don't listen to that story. It has everything to do with making the kids ask a question. In order to be ready to tell the story, we need to get the kids to ask a question, so we eat a vegetable out of the de repente. No, because there's no halacha of which vegetable. You can use whichever vegetable you want. There's customs, but the customs are customs. They're beautiful customs. In theory, you could have any vegetable you want. I like to tell, there was one time that we had a Seder. We have public Seder for a lot of people. For this year, we're probably going to have 60, 70, 80 people for our first Seder. So one year we had a public Seder and we didn't bring the vegetable. And we were next door at that time. What's it called? What's the name of the?
No,
What's
the treat, the
sweet tooth? The alalo Sonny's. We used to be in Sonny's. We were in Sonny's for a year, and we didn't have a vegetable. So we went next door because we were friends with the gas station. We went next door to the gas station, and they sell bananas. So we can't buy it, but they gave us all the bananas, and we had bananas for karpas. Right, because it's a vegetable. It is. A banana's a vegetable. It's a vegetable. It's a vegetable. But that's not the right way to do it. But yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's usually on the Haggadah. So,
¿Cómo así?
el carpaz, la parte que te comes.
Sí,
Sí.
sí. Okay, I'll explain. We'll come back, I'll explain. There is a part in the Haggadah. So the Haggadah that we have today has the whole Seder in it. Right. But the part that we're talking about is what we're going to learn about next week. Okay, in detail. Right. It starts from Manishtana. It starts from Manishtana. Yeah, yeah. But it's not the first, because first you make Kiddush, then you eat the karpas. Now, in order to eat the karpas, we're going to go fast, guys. I'm sorry. In order to eat the karpas, you need to wash your hands.
Before hot.
So, orchatz, you wash your hands without a bracha. So there you wash your hands without a bracha. That is a preparatory step. That's why it's an arrow. Okay? That's all. Now, what else? What's the next requirement to tell the story? Is positive and negative. Skip that. We're going to speak about that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Now, yachatz. No. What's the next in the 3 requirements to tell the story? You need to have in front of you negative and positive. We'll speak about that next week with Hashem's help. This week, what's the one after that? So you need to have the Pesach, the matzah, and the maror. The Pesach you have is the bone. The maror you have is great. The matzah is underneath it. But the Torah tells us that matzah must be poor man's bread. There's 2 reasons it's poor man's bread. The first reason is once you buy matzah for your whole family, you're going to become poor. No, that's not really the reason. But one is it's poor man's bread because of the ingredients.
Yeah.
It's poor in ingredients, flour and water. The other reason it's poor man's bread is when a poor person is given a gift of a loaf of bread, what does he do with it?
He waters it down.
Good guess.
No, close.
When I don't know.
A poor man. Good guess.
He puts it like that, so it's
Good
deep.
guess.
You have to.
But he's not going to eat the whole thing because he doesn't know when he's going to get the next piece of bread. He breaks it in half and puts half away. That's what we're doing here. Step number 4 is we break the matzah in half and we put half away. Why? Yes, that's the reason. Why? In order that we should have in front of us a poor man's bread. ¿Entiendes? In order that we should now do mitzvah number 5, which we just spoke about, which is to tell the story. Which means step number 2, step number 3, step number 4 are all a preparation for the mitzvah of step number 5.
Because they're all props.
They're all related. One is to get questions and answers, and one is to create the props.
Yeah.
¿Entendimos?
Más o menos. No.
Él dice que if you follow the Haggadah, you don't have to do more questions. I mean, you don't have to do anything else. Just follow the Haggadah.
Yes, correct. You fulfill the mitzvah by following exactly what's written in the Haggadah. Okay, so let me explain briefly. Step number 5 was what? Telling the story. That's a mitzvah. There's a mitzvah, right? We said there's 4 mitzvot, and then the rabbis added. That is a mitzvah. In order to tell the story, you need to have questions and answers. In order to get questions and answers, we eat the karpas. In addition, in order to tell the story, you need to have Pesach matzah mar in front of you. In order to have matzah that's kosher matzah, it has to be broken in half. So we break it in half. This is all to tell the story. Now we're going to fulfill the mitzvah of telling the story. ¿Ya entendimos? Okay, good. Now, when we tell this story, almost whenever we have a speech bubble, almost every time, we're going to have a cup of wine. When we tell this story, meaning it's step number 5, we're going to fill up the cup of wine before we tell the story, and we're going to drink the cup of wine after we tell the story. So draw a little wine cup there, and that's cup number 2. Yes, that's cup number 2. That's right. Cup number 1 was in Kadesh. Cup number 2 is in Magid. Excellent. Now we're ready for our next mitzvah. Go to number 8. What is our next mitzvah? Matzah. So it's eat matzah.
8 is it no.
Eat matzah.
If it's not shmura, it doesn't count.
Not for the mitzvah. For everything else, you can have not shmura.
What
But
happened to 6?
6, 7. In order to eat matzah, what do we need to do?
Wash your hands.
We need to make the bracha hamotzi. So that's number
Hamotzi.
7. We make the bracha hamotzi. And in order, stay with us, girl. In order to eat matzah, what else do we need to do?
Wash our
Wash our hands with the bracha. That's step number 6.
Do we wash the hands without
With the bracha. This ends with the bracha. Because now we're eating bread. Or something like bread. So, step 6, step 7, step 8 are all simply fulfilling mitzvah number 2.
Wait, 6 is wash the hands with the bracha,
Right?
and 7 is make the bread bracha.
Right, exactly.
And eat the matzah, it's mitzvah no.
Number 8 is mitzvah number 2. Mitzvah number 2. Yes, of course. It's a mitzvah. Every mitzvah has rules. So what is the rules for matzah? No es ridícula. Es mucho, pero no es ridícula. You're right. She's not wrong. Porque it is, but think about it for mitzvah. The mitzvah is to eat. Let me show you something. Can I touch your bowl for a second? I'm sorry.
Of course.
The mitzvah is to eat. This is called eating. Okay? This is not called eating. That's called taking a little nibble, a little bite, tasting. Eating is this. Este no es eating. Eating is what we just saw here. Sorry. Okay? Este se llama eating. So,
The matzah.
what is the minimum amount and what is the minimum time? It's with a certain amount of time, because if you take a little bite throughout the whole Seder to finish your amount, you're not doing the mitzvah. You need to eat, I'm going to tell you a word and then I'll tell you what to write. You need to eat something called a kizayit. The kizayit is a large olive, 1 ounce in weight. That's how much it is. 1 ounce in weight. No es poco. You'll see in a second. So write that down. It has to be 1 ounce in weight.
De harina.
No, de matzah. De matzah. Now let me explain to you. I'll explain in a second. Weight, in weight, digo. In 8, in numero 8, exactly. Okay. You need to eat it in a certain amount of time, because if you take a little bite for 5 hours, that's not called eating either. Eating is eating like this. What is the amount of time? There's debate. Anywhere between 4 and 9 minutes. So do the 9-minute version. You're fine. Okay?
1 ounce in 9 minutes.
1 ounce in 9 minutes. Now, how much is an ounce of shmura matzah? It depends. There's no rule, because there's cheaper shmura matzah, like the kind we buy for our big Seder, because we have so many people, we can't afford to buy the most expensive one. This is the kind you buy in Costco. It's $20 a pound. It's perfectly fine. It's delicious, but it's a little thicker. Since it's a little thicker, it's a little harder to eat. But that means you need less of a matzah, because it's denser, it's more heavy.
How much?
If you buy the fancier ones that are 50, that's what I'm telling you. If you buy the ones that are $50 a pound or $60 a pound, you're going to get 12 matzahs in 1 pound. If you buy these ones, it's about eight matzahs in 1 pound. It's a little bit more. So it's a little less than 1/2 of a matzah if you're using these ones.
Es un pound, no?
There's 16 ounces in a pound.
Bueno, porque probablemente that's the meal. That night.
It's a meal. Well, that together with your Korban Pesach, together with your maror.
That's it.
That's it. Well, sort of.
Shouldn't
No. Sort of.
because then have to have a
The meal, yes.
De la
Exacto. Right. For this Seder, we have 2 cases of 24 boxes.
No, not for the community one. Like if you do it at home.
So I'll give you the measurement in a minute, because there's a proper measurement, unless people want to eat more. Guys, stay focused, because there's not a lot of time. And I'm going to answer your question. What we do in our house, and we just started doing this about 3-4 years ago, and the reason I do it is to make it easier, not harder. It sounds like it's crazy, but this makes it easier, not harder, because then you know how much you need to eat. We measure it before Pesach. I buy a scale, one of those food scales, and we measure 1.1 ounce because there's some leftover. We put it in Ziploc bags, and when it comes to the Seder, I give each person a Ziploc bag with 1.1 ounces, and this way you know how much you have to eat. There's no questions. You eat it, you know how much you have left. You know what I'm saying? There's no, and yalla, it's done. No. Pero if you eat it at a reasonable rate and you're not having a massive conversation, really you shouldn't be talking so much then. But if you're not conversing too much, you're gonna do it in the right time. It's not a problem. Step 8. Yes, it does, of course, but slow down. Yes, that's right. En total es more than 1 ounce. Sí, exacto. Ya vamos por ahí. Okay, good. So the halacha is 1 ounce. So now we did mitzvah number 2, number 3 rather. Number 2 rather. Number 2.
Steve, I don't think so. It was like
It's about half a matzah. It depends which kind of matzah you bought. I'm telling you. If you bought a thin matzah or a thick matzah, todo depende en el matzah. Okay, if you find it hard, I'm going to give you a little hint. Okay, there is machine-made shmura matzah. It's not the best. The best is to use the round handmade. But if you cannot do it, I'd prefer you do the mitzvah than not. There is machine-made shmura, cuadradito y bien delgadita. Pero ahí también you have to. The best way to figure out how much you have to give in each portion is you buy these boxes are a pound. Open it up, count the matzahs, and do division. You divide the amount of matzahs by 16.
What you're saying, the machine is easier to eat.
It's easier to eat. It is. But I'm suggesting that we're all of us are really big enough adults. Do the work. It's not, but if you want to worry about the kids or other people who are at the Seder and you want to get them to do the mitzvah, then maybe buy the machine shmura. It has to be shmura. Okay. Este lo que compro del Costco es estos. They're perfectly fine, but they're a little thicker. Okay, let's continue. El second mitzvah.
El third.
¿Cuál fue?
Matzah is the third.
Third. Okay, telling the story. She's right. Because the Korban Pesach is the first one, is the second one, and we don't have that yet.
Okay, I didn't put.
Good. It's the third mitzvah. Perfect. Okay. Now we need to, every square is something to eat. Now we're going to eat the next mitzvah. What is the next mitzvah? Maror. Maror has the same rules. An ounce within 9 minutes. Okay, so maror can be made from many different things. Some people have the custom to use horseradish, fresh ground horseradish.
Yeah, but 4 to
That's
9
rough.
minutes.
Huh?
4 to 9.
4 to 9 minutes. Some people have the custom to use lechuga, but it has to be romaine lettuce. No otro tipo de lechuga. Some people have the custom to use endivios. Pero los endivios, you have to make sure that they're right kind of endivios. Because apparently there's 2 different kinds, Spanish and this, I don't know what it is. Only one of them is appropriate for, and I don't know because it's not my custom, so I apologize. Let me borrow this 1 second. We use a combination of the maror and of the horseradish and the lettuce. If you're using only lettuce and there's no stem in the lettuce, then it's about this much.
De lechuga.
In other words, yes. If it's just the leaf without the hard stem in the middle. No, so if you use this stem, of course you can, but the stem's going to weigh more. That's all I'm saying. That's fine. I just want you to have an image in your mind.
Pero el stem es más.
Pero el stem es el parte que es más, que pesa más. Sí. So it's un leaf grande. Exacto. O 2 leaves chiquitos. Menos. Este lo puedes poner en el Seder plate, se puede poner el bonito. Pero para comerlo, hay que comer. Es un mitzvah de comer, no es un mitzvah de probar, es de comer. Okay, if you take, está bien, si se ve más lindo, está bien. If you're using horseradish, it's about the size of a ping pong ball. Pero este es, yo lo como así, es dificilísimo. Es dificilísimo.
No.
Pero picante. No es rábano. Horseradish es el, ¿cómo se llama? What do you have with the sushi?
Ginger, no.
No es ginger, el otro, el wasabi. Es el wasabi. Es el wasabi. Cuida porque a lot of people, they buy the horseradish that has the red stuff in it that you put on gefilte fish.
Sí, ajá. Great.
No es bueno para el Seder.
Has to be
Okay, it has to be pure. It has to be pure. Okay, no has hecho nada mal. Y lo hiciste bien. Ya sabes, otro sistema. Eso. Okay. Correct. Now the Torah tells us, I told you before, that the mitzvah is the Korban Pesach. And the Korban Pesach, it says, Al matzot u'morerim yochluhu. You should eat it together with matzah and maror. There's a debate in the Talmud. Does this mean at the same meal, or does this mean at the same time? What we do is we do both. So now we're going to make a sandwich. And this year, the sandwich is going to have a Korban Pesach in the middle. It's going to have maror, and it's going to have matzah. Just to make it a little more delicious. In the olden days, matzah was not hard like it is today. I'm not going to explain that because it's too much for now. In the olden days, it was more like a lafa. So barely the sandwich was a lafa with some lettuce and lamb. A good sandwich.
¿Y qué pasó con Jaros? Matzá y...
Pero ¿por qué se hace el sándwich?
Porque dice en el Torah que hay que comer que es el Korban Pesach, con matzah y maror.
Eso lo leímos.
La pregunta es si es para decir todo en el mismo.
¿Solamente o en...
Exacto. Right.
Sándwich es para comértelo al mismo tiempo.
En la Torah dice que te lo tienes que comer. O sea, que te lo tienes que comer eso.
Sí.
Pero hay una duda que si es todo a la misma vez o en el mismo...
Por eso haces los dos.
Sí, exacto.
Okay.
Exacto. So ya en este mitzvah vamos a comer. Okay, el charoset, again, because I'm going on the super fast version here. El charoset es costumbre muy anciano, muy old custom. All the way in the time of the Talmud, we have the custom of the charoset, and it is to take away certain potential problems from the maror. So they had charoset, and they dipped the maror in the charoset. That was the custom. Okay. No es necesario de sándwich para ponerlo. Hay que untar the maror en the charoset.
Esto no está en la Gadá.
Sí,
¿Sí?
sí,
Sí, claro.
sí.
Pero no.
Sí,
Oh, sí.
sí. Everything's in the Haggadah.
So the haroset.
You don't take your matzah and go like this with charoset and then mantequilla un poquito y un poquito de no, y hummus y no es así. Es lechuga y no, el maror es y matzah. El lechuga hay que untarlo en el charoset. Exacto. Now for this, it's the same law. Ounce, but we could be a little bit more lenient. We could be a little bit more lenient here. And here, instead of 1 ounce of each, 0.75 ounces. So you use 3/4 of the amount that you needed for the other one, But you need, no, es un sandwichcito, es un sandwich. Todo es comer. Este es el mitzvah de comer. No, guys, don't get freaked out. You do what you can.
Don't cook that night.
That's what happens. That's what happens.
If you have to eat the lechuga y la manzana.
But now we did the second mitzvah as well in representative form.
En Corea.
En korech. And this year, with Hashem's help, we're going to have it not in representative form. We're going to have it in real form. So now we're doing all three mitzvot together: matzah, maror, and Korban Pesach. ¿Entiendes? Good. Now let's move on.
Sorry. Were these some of the things that we read last week?
Sure.
Okay. So-
Shulchan Aruch is the mitzvah to eat a meal. Now, let me tell you how it used to be in the olden days when we had the Korban Pesach. Yeah, I have no problem with that.
There comes cheesecake.
That's why I'm fulfilling God's commandment. The way it used to be is that they had two sacrifices. They had one sacrifice called the Korban Chagiga, which is a holiday sacrifice, and then they had the Korban Pesach, which was the special one for Pesach. They had both. One was beef, and one was lamb. You got it? The main meal was on the beef. So they would first eat a meal, which is Shulchan Aruch, and only then they would eat the Korban Pesach. Today that
Wait,
last year,
sorry.
yeah,
The Korban Pesach, they eat it?
yeah,
Wasn't it a sacrifice to give it to the
no,
altar?
it was eaten. Only a small piece of it went on the altar.
Oh,
Yeah, 95% of it was eaten.
okay.
And it was a whole lamb.
Yeah, that's why they had a whole
Tenían que-
family. That which the majority of sacrifice in terms of number, meaning in terms of number of sacrifices that were offered on any given day, were eaten. Only a small percentage were what we call an ola. An ola is actually where in Greek is Holocaust. That's where the name Holocaust came from. Yes, ola. And the ola is a Holocaust, which is why the Rebbe didn't like the word Holocaust, because it's a completely burnt offering. And we are not completely burnt. Baruch Hashem, we're here today. Okay, but that's where the word Holocaust and ola comes from.
Como la jala que yo queme.
Ola, not chala. Ola. Oh,
Take a little.
sí, exacto, exacto. Okay. What did I went to? Oh, yeah. So today that we don't, or I should say, last year that we did not have the sacrifices. So on our Seder plate, we have a representation of the
Korban.
other korban, the one that's just the regular holiday korban, and that's the egg. Okay, the egg, you don't have to eat it, but some people have the custom that you begin Shulchan Aruch by eating the egg. Okay,
Y esto no es cuando lo.
este puede ser un costumbre israelí específico, no sé. Okay, anyhow, we're almost done, guys. We're no, because I want to finish.
Wait, the egg is the representation of the Korban Hagigah.
Chagiga, exacto. And so is the meal. The meal is also a representation of Korban Chagiga. At the end of the meal in the olden days, at the end of the meal, what they would do is then they would have dessert. What was the dessert? Was the Korban Pesach. The Korban Pesach was the dessert.
Wait, can you just-
And dessert, no, I can't. The dessert in Greek, the way you say dessert is afikoman.
Really?
Yes. Afikoman, that is numero
12.
12.
Safun.
Safun.
El aficoman.
Afikoman. El afikoman is representativo, you know what I'm saying. Representative of the Korban Pesach. So by now we have fulfilled all of the mitzvot of the Seder. What are the mitzvot of the Seder? Because it's the last thing that you eat. It's the afikoman. It's the, okay? Since we did not have last year a lamb, instead we ate a piece of matzah.
But why do you have to hide it and find it and everything?
That's all. Because you're hiding it because of what we said earlier, just like a poor man will put away his bread. Defining it is to keep the kids awake for the Seder. That's the only reason. Okay.
Made that up.
I'm very smart.
Yes.
Okay.
We have now fulfilled all of the 5 mitzvot. This is the order of the mitzvot. Mitzvah number 1, to tell the story. We did that. Mitzvah number 2, to eat Korban Pesach. At this point, we've eaten, with Hashem's help, we'll actually eat the Korban Pesach, but at least a representation. Mitzvah number 3, we ate matzvah. Mitzvah number 4, we ate the maror. We have not finished drinking the 4 cups of wine. Now that we finished eating our meal, right? I told you the whole Seder is just a meal.
Seder until here.
You fulfilled the mitzvah, sort of, but you didn't fulfill the 4 cups of wine. Okay, in order to, what do you do when you finish eating a meal?
Dessert.
Finish eating the meal. Birkat Hamazon. That's number 13. 13 is Birkat Hamazon. Now, again, put a cup of wine there. Before we say Birkat Hamazon, we fill up a cup of wine. That's right. And after Birkat Hamazon, we drink the cup of wine. No, we fill it up before and we drink it afterwards. Now that we have thanked Hashem for the delicious food, maybe, you can argue on that one. Well, anyhow. Now we have one last thing to say, which is thanking Hashem for the miracle. Hallel. Este fue número 3. Now we say the Hallel. The Hallel is thanking Hashem for the miracle. We already began the Hallel as the end of Magid. I don't want to bore you with that for right now, but the end of Magid was the beginning of Hallel. Now we conclude the Hallel. And that is cup number 4 as well. Before you start the Hallel, you fill up a cup. When you finish the Hallel, you drink your cup. We have now completed the entire Seder. If you can see, the last speech bubble is pointing upwards. Because we don't do this step. Hashem does this step. And Hashem says, good job.
Did all the mitzvahs.
You did all the mitzvahs. It's called nirtza, which means that we hope that Hashem accepts our mitzvahs, our Seder.
He acknowledges that we completed.
That's right, the 5 mitzvot. So what is it? Let's just do the overview, and with this we'll conclude. What is the Seder? The Seder is simply, very simple, is doing 5 mitzvot. What are the 5 mitzvot? To tell the story, to eat the Korban Pesach, to eat matzah, to eat maror, and to drink 4 cups of wine.
And for example, the dipping of the water, salt water,
That is,
That's the de carpas.
that's in the karpas. We eat a vegetable dipped in salt water. So those three steps, 2, 3, and 4, are simply making us able to tell the story properly. Steps number 6, 7 are simply leading us up to the mitzvah of eating matzah. 8, 9 are eating matzah, maror, and then eating matzah and maror together. 10 is eating a meal. 11 is eating the Korban Pesach. 12 and 13 is thanking Hashem for the food, thanking Hashem for the miracle, and Hashem accepts it. It's simple.
Voy a meter esta hojita mía acá.
¿Pero entiendes? ¿Entiendes lo que estamos haciendo? So the Seder no es complicado. What I will show you next week with Hashem's help, I'm going to show you a beautiful Haggadah. ¿Eh? Sí, tiene todos los steps. Pero ya entiendes lo que estamos haciendo. I have a Haggadah, by the way, I'm going to show you next week, which is not mine. It belongs to the British Museum. And this Haggadah is one of the most beautiful Haggadahs you'll ever see in your life.
You have it?
No, I have it on my computer.
Ah.
And I'm going to show you the pictures. And the pictures have all the things that we're talking about. It's amazing. It's made in 1100 or 1200. Okay, I'll send a link. It's so beautiful, this Haggadah. That's also beautiful. I'll send you 3 Haggadot, and I'll tell you the one that I'm going to use for our class next week. Okay? También, buena idea. Buena idea. Hey, next week, bring your Haggadot. Good idea. Just make sure that you don't get it dirty for Pesach. Okay? Bueno.
So basically, the way they would do it is they would go to, the men would go to the Pesach.
En verdad, se puede ir ocho.
Not morning, afternoon. That's why you're not allowed to eat chametz then. Starting at midday, starting at chatzot. No. It was a madhouse. No, you have to understand, there could have been up to 10 million. No, that's for another time. The Karban Pesach, she wants me to describe to you how crazy. You think it's crazy for us? In the Beit HaMikdash was off the charts crazy. You can assume that there were 1 million sacrifices brought. They had to all be slaughtered from midday Erev Pesach, which means this year it would be Wednesday. From midday of Wednesday up until the end of the day. So you had to slaughter 1 million animals, 1 million animals in a room that is 10 times the size of this room.
That's a Holocaust.
That is literally. So with 1 million animals, would be at least 1 million men. Uno por cada animal. At least, but there would have been more. At least 1 million men. Slow down. At least 1 million men. Now, with this 1 million men, they did it in 3 shifts. They would let in 1/3. They would do the sacrifice. Now, the sacrifice would mean you can't have the Karban going, the Kohen going around to slaughter each sacrifice. People could slaughter their own sacrifice if you knew how to do it.
Everybody was.
If you knew how to do it. Or you would have a shochet who was in this area and he would slaughter 10 or 15. Blood's going all over the place. All over the place. Then you had to remove the skin, which means here, in this one place, only the men are inside there. And then you had to remove a certain part of the animal that had to be sent to the altar. This is crazy. And some of the blood, not all of it, but some of the blood had to be caught in a special, and this you did need a Kohen for, had to be caught in a special golden vessel to be brought to the Mizbeach. So there was blood flying back and forth and cups of blood being sent back and forth. No, it's going to be awesome. This is going to be so cool. Okay?
O sea, de Tarantino.
A slaughterhouse. Yeah? Yeah.
The blood is holy.
Yeah.
El que hacen con el beso no te la puedes tomar antes.
Okay, so
I think God understood that that's very primitive. and
No,
that's why we don't.
we'll debate later. They'll debate later. That next week if we have time, we'll debate it. I still owe you guys a class on Israel. So yeah, I'm leaving it up to you to organize. At the end of this crazy, now you have to imagine, you're talking about 333,000 people in one room with 333,000 sheep. Okay, with knives going back and forth, and let's put another 10,000 kohanim. Okay, with knives going back and forth, with cups of blood being sent back and forth, craziness. Now, they had to clean this mess. How did they clean it? There was a river that ran through the Beit HaMikdash, through the building, and they would close one side of it so that the water would go all the way up, maybe till I don't know, until the size of a waist or something, and then they would do all the scrubbing. Then they would open it, and all the blood and all these things would go in the river. But now you have to picture everyone's running home with their little lamb.
That's
already skinned. And now you need to go and you need to put it into an oven. How many ovens are there in Jerusalem? This is crazy. When you think about, ¿cómo? No. I believe, this is my belief. I don't have a proof for this. I believe that 90% of the Seders were al fresco. They were in the park in now Gan Sacher. They all went to Gan Sacher. They all had their, that's right. Yeah. They all had their little asado,
But people travel from all over the world to do the.
It would be all over Israel because they were in the yeah. See, ese fue uno de los tres.
And they were all with their families, their
Mhm.
kids. It's not like the men went.
So the family, you could go either way, but normally they bring family and kids. So now you're talking about 20 million people or 10. It was the whole Jewish people, basically in, and so I'm thinking of them all in the park with their little groups, and then they're singing together, and suddenly the whole park is full of the sound, the smell of asado, and see, debe ser barbecue. It has to be barbecue. They would cook it too. Anyhow, yeah.
If you have to eat 1 ounce, 1.1.
Mhm.
Of
It's really 1 ounce. I do 1.1 in the bags.
well, no, but that's not hamotzi. You don't say the baraha. How do you say the baraha? When you say hamotzi and you bring a piece to each person.
So you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. You don't have to give a piece to each person. What I do personally, at least in my family Seder, not for the community Seder, my family Seder, I have like a box, and in the box has all of these bags, and then I put my matzahs on top, and I say the bracha for everybody. But everybody should. This is the one time when everybody should make their own blessing, because you're going to say 2 blessings. Really, going to make alachilat matzah. You're going to see it's in your the mitzvah for the mitzvah of eating matzah and the bracha of hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Okay,
Yo también
So
quiero.
Bueno.
everyone should say.
they should say this. I'm sorry.
Debería cada uno decir la
Sí,
suya. Inclusive
sí.
que hay un hombre en la
Ella
mesa
que está
Sí,
buscando
sí,
todo.
sí, sí. En este caso, si no, si escuchaste bien y pusiste atención, está bien. Pero mejor que todos dicen. They're wrong.
Okay.
Ya hay que empezar a limpiar.
Okay, but that's why I wanted to tell. That's why I wanted to teach you guys about the preparation, but we're not going to do it. Sí. Exacto, exacto. Pero sí hay que hacer ciertas cosas. Y esas ciertas cosas hay que poner más atención a lo que debes. You have to make sure, for example, that you scrub every floor with your hand. I'm just kidding. you okay. I'll tell you the short version. There's 2 different mitzvot of chametz. One is not eating it. It's really 6, but 3 mitzvot are not eating it, and 3 mitzvot are not having it.
We saw it last week. That's what we saw last week.
But not everyone was here. The majority of our work is in the not having it, not in the not eating it. The whole house, the cars, your businesses, that's all the not having it, mostly. Not having it, again, it's the size of a ping pong ball, which means, I'm sorry, no, which means you're not talking about crumbs. You're not talking, exacto. Those crumbs, it's good. It's a good mitzvah, do it, it's beautiful, but it's not required. Exacto.
O sea, un pedazo que así es menor de un ping pong ball, no importa.
No importa.
No importa.
Ahí.
Okay, good. I'll give you how much time do you have? Huh? Okay, so I'll give you the short version. Okay. The very short. Really, according to the Torah, the original version, all you needed to do to not own, not forget, we're not talking about the not eating. The not eating is more complicado. But to not own chametz, all you needed to do was do the following, and we do it twice. You have to say, Kol chamira v'chamia, the ika b'rishusi, the chazisi, the loy chazisi. Any chametz which I have, and which if I saw it or if I didn't see it, let it be ownerless. Hiciste la mitzvah, ya, todo está bien. Porque if you see chametz in your house, it doesn't belong to you. The rabbi said there's 2 problems. Problem number 1 is, let's say in my house, I have my bottle of Blue Label. Okay? And I make this statement. And my maid, very nice woman, Magali, says, oh, really? It's all ownerless, huh? I'm going to take this bottle of Blue Label. See? But if I feel for 1 minute No. Everything else.
Claro, ya no.
So it's possible to say words that are insincere.
Okay.
So the rabbis are concerned. Wait. So the rabbis are concerned that you could be insincere. Part one. Part two, they're also concerned. It's 2:00 in the morning. You get out of bed, and first thing you do is you go straight to your pantry and you look for a hamantash, the ones that are left over from Purim. And you're not thinking it's Pesach. Remember, if it's not hidden, it's not put away. This is the way we do things. Or it's not 2:00 in the morning. It's sin querer. So the rabbis were concerned of both things. So they said instead of just saying the words, we're going to do three things. Number one, we're going to burn chametz. Number two, we are going to search for chametz. And number three, we are going to sell the chametz. The selling came much later. That was 400 years old. They did not sell chametz before 400 years ago. Did not exist. Correct.
Like not even the 1600s.
Right around then. Okay. What happens by doing these things? Now we're going to ensure that you don't own any chametz. We're going to ensure that you don't accidentally eat chametz. Okay. So when you are preparing your house for Pesach, not the kitchen. The kitchen's a different conversation. When you're preparing your house for Pesach, what are you really doing? You're preparing for the search of chametz. That's right. You're preparing for the search, so that when your husband or son or yourself is searching for the chametz, they don't find anything. That's your objective. That's it.
So you need to put it so they can pick it.
You put the pieces. That's a custom. Yes.
Hashem says you should search your house.
The Chachamim say you search your house. That's in the Gemara. No, that's in the Gemara already. Yes, that's custom. Pure custom. And as a matter of fact, if you have the chance of possibly losing your chametz, it's better not to do the custom. So be careful. Yeah, no una vez, siempre pasa. Sí. So for another thing you should do, by the way, is make sure that the amount that you're putting into these things is less than a kezayit. Because by putting less than a kezayit, if you lose one, está bien? Okay. Good. So what is the real job? The real job, but here's where you do have to put effort in. You do have to actually go through your house and make sure there's no chametz. That's a lot of work. That means going through shelves, going through pockets, maybe if you have kids who put things in their pockets, definitely going through your purses and your backpacks, big time. So that's the real work. That and preparing the kitchen. The kitchen is another conversation. I don't think we have time for that. Your car is the biggest problem, by far, especially if you have kids. Car is by far the biggest problem. Put in energy in the car. You can have somebody do your detail. That'll be 95%, but it's not done because they're not looking for chametz. They're just cleaning your car. That will take care of most of it. The number one place that I have found chametz in a car is if you have, for example, también. If you have, for example, a the asshole, the seats that go up and down. So and sometimes when they do the they don't close it. So that's one thing you have to do yourself is close your car seats and open them just to see. What you do not need to do, and this is another important thing to keep in mind in this whole conversation, you do not need to lift up your car seat. In other words, not the ones that fold. Because nobody's putting their hand into, so there's no way that you're going to accidentally, doesn't matter because you're not going to put your hand in to eat it. And you're also, right, because we're worried about eating it. And you also said the mitzvah of all any chametz which belongs to me is garbage. And the chametz that's in there is garbage. So the rule is, and that's what I want to finish you with, the rule is wherever you don't normally bring chametz, you don't need to search. But for us, these days, most of us bring chametz everywhere. Number two, is wherever your hand cannot reach, you do not need to search. Therefore, for certain people, they don't have to search in their pockets because they never give tzedakah, so they don't. Or other people never have to search their libraries because they never open the books. But those are the rules. That's the basic rule. The things you do need to be careful of, and here there's debate. Toy boxes, sports things. The other thing you have to be careful, and this there's debate about. So, lipstick has to be kosher for Pesach because lipstick goes on your mouth. There's a lot of debate whether regular, what are they called, the hair products, these things, whether you have to be careful of chametz in them. Why? Because many of them do have chametz. That's for sure. The question is it still considered chametz because an animal won't eat it? It's not edible. Huh?
Mi siguiente pregunta. La comida que si no se tiene que dar. ¿Qué hago con mi perro? Y su comida.
You sell him. You know.
Digo, no entiendo. O sea,
So,
¿qué se hace?
los niños.
No. The truth is, dogs are easier because other animals, you can't give them other foods. Dogs, you can give them a lot of food. First of all, there are kosher for Pesach dog foods.
Only that food.
So find out. It could be it's not a problem. You have to look in the ingredients and see if there's a.
Posibilidades de que tenga chametz. Esas comidas son casi todas.
Normalmente.
¿Y qué pasa? Y eso no es comida para perro.
No.
Y no le puedo venderle comida a la señora que
¿Y,
trabaja en la
y qué tú lo vas a usar?
Para el perro.
¿De quién es el perro?
Lo alimenta.
Imposible.
Could she? But
Vomita
what about? No.
horrible.
Could the maid?
Si come de
lo
meat.
que cae el piso, vomita, pero que tengo que pagar
But if you, no, pero pregunto, see, if you give them specifically the food that you want to give them, in other words, not what falls on the floor, but you give them meat, you give them some things. I'm asking, I don't know. Look online, ask ChatGPT, don't ask me.
And the maid feeds the dog. And anyways, you're not going to eat that food. Why would you even think you're going to eat that food?
What do you mean?
See it.
No, you can't own chametz.
Can't own it. So what if the maid owns it, but it's like it's the dog's in your house?
The maid doesn't own your dog.
Me.
You tell me.
You can't sell the dog.
You're not selling the dog. Come on.
It's not real.
It's not real.
Right, you know what I'm saying, but he's saying it's not, if you don't do it real, it's not.
Sí. No. Sí. Este no es real.
Yikes.
Pero ya va, entonces it would be, o sea, es loquísimo porque even if I send the dog to camp.
Está bien.
Yes, it is.
But it's not your food. It's not your food.
Dan comida lo-
You're giving them money. You're not telling them which food to feed. Are you going to give them a bag of food with, you're saying? Está bien. Give it to them and tell it's theirs. Es tuya. Es tuya. See? Let me do a little research. Do me a favor and reach out to me. But remind me because I will forget. I promise you I'm going to forget. Anytime. Just send me a text or this or that. So that it's on my computer somewhere or something, because otherwise I will forget. Okay, I'll do some research and I'll try and find out a good answer for you. But you're saying there's only one food in the world you can give it?
It's crazy. I bought the same food in a larger bag and it didn't work. No sabes. I tried it twice.
So here's my suggestion. Get it in a big bag and then put it into the small bag.
The dog is throwing up blood.
Oh my God.
It's really crazy. Crazy.
I don't know what to answer you, but I'll do a little research. I'll try and do a little research.
Muy picky.
No, chiquito creo que es más delicado.
Very picky.
Pero we're all doing the right thing que estamos aquí.